Well, Dana and I did it again, everyone. Happy New Year. We were about to press the record button and we said, wait, what are we
Wait, what are
talking
we
about?
doing? That seems to just be what we do. Part of it is people should know behind the scenes. We're not like, you know, we have good brains. It's that we only see each other every other week, and we're so busy chatting about other stuff that we forget
Yeah.
what we decided to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, Dana and I
That's too
fill in the gaps with a lot of
Yeah.
fun information.
Yeah.
But we figured though, like in the new year, right? This idea of like, how do we think starting off the new year should be? It's in looking at your unmet needs.
Unmet. Even identifying unmet needs, because I find people have a hard time identifying a need, first of all,
Yeah.
and then is it unmet, right? What
Yeah.
do you need, right? I remember early in therapy too, learning the difference between a need and a want.
Yeah.
We could be talking about either in this: unmet needs, unmet wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something that you'd like or would you prefer, you prefer to happen. I think that one of the biggest flags or signals for unmet needs is complaining.
Oh,
When you complain about something over and over and again, I think that that's a signal for an unmet need.
Something isn't being met. Yeah.
Something is not being met. So a lot of times I'll be like, with my clients, I'll be like, this sounds like a complaint. This needs to get turned into a request. This complaint needs to be turned into a request. If you could turn this complaint into a request, what would that be? That
reminds me of doing couples therapy when they complain about each other. And really it's because they're not getting their need met by the other person. So how do you communicate the need? How do you do that? Yeah.
How do you communicate that directly? I think the other thing with unmet needs, which what are the emotions and feelings that come with unmet needs? It's usually resentment, frustration, anger would be, I think, some of the top choices.
And frustration would be a good one, or just because you maybe try to get your need met and that person doesn't meet it, and then you just sort of left with that dangling out there. That doesn't feel very good either. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. 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 Maybe it's when you look more closely into it, it's a demonstration of your situation that you can't change, or you know what I mean? Like there's lots of signals for this, but what is an unmet need? And we have them. All of us have them.
Yeah. It's normal. Yeah. You can't have all your needs that you want on any given day all the time. Right. Yeah, exactly. I have an unmet need of being independently wealthy.
Oh, me too.
I've
played the lottery
when someone's going to give
times.
me 500 million. Come on, when's it coming?
I played multiple times because the Powerball here is currently at 1.2 or 1.1 billion with a B dollars.
Oh.
And I was like, someone has to win. Why can't it be me?
Yeah. Yeah. It can be and then the stats behind that's always funny. It's something like you have a better chance of walking out your door and seeing a bear who is toe dancing while being struck by lightning.
Oh.
It kind of puts it in perspective. So there's a chance then that could happen.
I mean, that's, going back to optimism versus hope. That's optimism.
Exactly. Yeah. But exactly. Where I see people struggling with the unmet need is in relationship, right? Are you getting your needs met from your partner? And sometimes you don't, and that's normal too. You want something from your partner, they're not in it or can't do it or whatever, and you can say, okay, so that's unmet, but that's okay. If unmet needs are something from yourself, then you have to look at that. And why am I doing that? Well, it could just be that you learned growing up because you had needs that weren't met in your family. You had things that you wanted, those weren't ever met, which would be a bit of a neglect or not a great growing up kind of scenario, right?
Yeah.
And then you could grow up to the point where you know you don't even know you have needs, and you just do everything for everybody else, and you're exhausted from that. So sometimes in therapy, it can be that you do have everybody has needs, and that's totally normal, right? An unmet need might be um, what comes to mind for me was one time we were driving up the mountains to this little town up here called Leavenworth, and there's a section of that mountainous road where there's nowhere to stop, if you catch my drift. And I had to go pee so bad. That was an unmet need that we couldn't meet, and it was so out of our control. I mean, then it gets worse, right? Finally, I said, just find somewhere where there isn't snow, that you can fit the car into, because I'm ready to just hang my butt over the window and go.
Yeah.
So unmet needs can be like biological. A lot of us don't have, especially if we're engrossed in something, don't have good interoception, aren't aware of you're hungry, you're tired, you need to be whatever it is. You haven't
Yep.
taken a rest in a long time. So you need to, it's good to pay attention to those things. And it can even be doing like an inventory. I have a client that once an hour, his little watch goes bing and does this sort of body scan kind of thing. He imagines it like T2, just doing this body scan. And that's great because you can say, am I hungry? Am I tired? Do I need to use the restroom? Whatever those things are. And then needs can be really complex interrelationally, right? It could be, I need you to hear me when I'm talking. I need you to validate what I'm saying, and those are kind of more sophisticated, a little bit harder to learn those things because it requires the other person and so on. So we could be talking the gamut from a biological need all the way to, more complex relational need, whether it's at home or work or wherever that is, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unmet. You're not going to get all your needs met. So, how do you just let go of some of those things? And those are hard growth curves to deal with, right? To be able to say, probably not going to get this. It's like with my dad. I know there's certain things he just can't do.
Yeah.
I've let it go,
Yeah.
knowing that that's not going to happen. And that was a long process and lots of involved in grieving what I'll never have and so on and so forth. So, what are your needs in terms of like, are you thirsty? Or do you have this long-term relationship where you just feel like that person isn't helping you or meeting your need, but is it because you never voice your needs? Right? You have to learn to ask for those too.
I think fundamentally, Dana, how many clients do you work with that don't even know what they want?
Yeah.
Right? They for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we talked about like chronic masking and how chronic
Mm-hmm.
masking, right, in one of our episodes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How chronic masking can lead to this feeling of invisibility or
Yeah.
not knowing
Mm-hmm.
who I am. But, in order for you to identify a need outside of like your biological ones, that's
Mm-hmm.
like if your interoception is like kind of
Yeah.
dialed in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it's like, do you know what you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because that could even be a way to uncover why you're bothered by something. And I think
Yeah.
those are your signals. Being bothered by something, what bothers you,
Yeah. Yeah.
can be a really good way to uncover what you want,
Yeah.
and what your preferences are and what your
Yeah, and that's
needs
what you meant,
are.
like that you feel irritable or angry
Mhm.
about something. And those are, yeah, something's
Mhm.
not getting, you're not getting what you need or want at that point. Yeah. Yeah.
The growth curve, Dana, on this is really interesting because there are moments, you gave that example for you and your dad,
Hmm.
where you've come to accept. And again,
Hmm.
I don't think acceptance is the same as agreeing with it,
Right.
but I do think that radical, we'll use a DBT term, that radical
Mm-hmm.
acceptance of something that you can't change,
Yeah. Yeah. I've let it
that
go.
can
Yeah.
be very difficult for people to let go of.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's work. I mean, I think that takes work. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
what happens to you if you were to accept X? You
Yeah.
are to accept that your partner, your parent, your
Hmm.
whatever is not capable at this time
Yeah. Yeah.
of reciprocating in a respectful
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where that's where I most often see people talking about it is with a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll ask, well, what do you want? And there's that, well, I'm not sure. I know it's not that though. Okay, well, that's a start. We know what it isn't.
Yeah.
And then being able to communicate that to the other person. It's hard. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do to say to someone, I need this thing or I want this thing, especially if you spent most of your life not asking for that. It can feel really vulnerable. It can feel really scary. I mean, one of the things that I've learned a lot about autistic folks is that hyper responsibility or that hyper independence. Oh, I know I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. With my thumb thing, I can't do my buttons. And I remember the first time that happened many years ago when I had my first hand surgery, I was just annoyed by it. Right. And then I thought I was bothering my wife asking for help with the buttons. And now I realize I am fairly hyper independent and self sufficient. And so when I ask her to do the buttons now, she actually enjoys it because she's like, I love that you asked me that. You're letting
Yeah.
me help.
Yeah.
Right. So for
Yeah.
me, letting her help was sort of the growth curve. So that sense of, all of us have a need for help, and all of us have a need for things and actions and feelings and all those things. So take a inventory for yourself, and what are your unmet ones, and who are they with?
Yeah.
It could be vast, and then it becomes, geez, the work is on my part to just recognize that I have these things.
Yeah.
I haven't I've been masking, and I've not been paying attention to them
Yeah.
at all yet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a process. That
Mm-hmm.
is for sure. It is a
Yeah.
process. So the idea, so hopefully, like, as we launch into 2026 here,
Mm-hmm.
this
So
is a good
weird.
time to just kind of, I mean, I don't know, Dana, like, I don't know if you set New Year's resolutions. I
I don't like set specific
don't.
ones, but I'm like, oh, it's a good time to think about, the end of the year. It's a good time to think about, what do I want to do differently. It's sort of a reminder of that. Yeah.
Maybe it's like setting an intention.
Yeah.
I've got a client who likes to choose one word for
Hmm.
the new year, and
Oh.
whatever, and that's the guiding word for her in the
Oh,
year, which
cool.
is like really good for her. But the
Mm-hmm.
idea, there is a psychological concept here,
Mm-hmm.
where people are motivated in the new year. Oh gosh,
Oh.
this is really going to bother me. Shoot. Oh, Dana, now I've opened up a loop and I'm going to have to close it. Sadly,
Just
I opened
thinking
up the
about
loop while we
word,
were
I could think like
taping.
tolerance would definitely be my word, is to, tolerate people that aren't doing things exactly as I want them to do it,
Yeah.
when I want them to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean like just putting up with like stupidity? Oh, this is called did I say that out loud?
You did. Yeah.
Oh, bother. Okay.
Ah.
But it's called the fresh start effect.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like to me. Yeah. And for me,
Yeah,
it's more
people.
like
Mhm.
what would be related to coworkers and students, maybe, is to just be a little more aware of, people have variances in how they do things. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this idea, yeah. So what did you say? Tolerance, Dana?
Tolerance. Yeah. Yeah. Have a
That could
little
be
bit
really
longer
wonderful
fuse.
for our society.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially with what's going on, and it could come with a double edge, right? So for me, when I think of tolerance, I don't want to tolerate what the administration's doing right now, for example. That wouldn't be
Mm,
so. Even though I have word, you can have that word, and also have it be, I'm going to be aware of my relationship to this thing.
mm-hmm.
So tolerance, then with that, me not wanting to tolerate that might be getting involved more, or trying to help more, or something or donating to the ACLU, whatever that is. I like that idea, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The idea of like, how do you take something that's bothersome? Because,
Hmm.
right. And how are you productive with it? Like, how are you
Yeah.
productive with something that bothers you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and some of it is letting it go, right? It's some of those like more, I think, benign, not benign, but like, you're passing by someone, or
Mhm.
there's just people are kind of more self-absorbed or whatever, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
things, right? Whatever. Like, how can you let some of that go?
Yeah.
And so with the bigger stuff, like how do you take that? How do you take being bothered and turn it into something productive? Or I don't
Yeah, I
know,
like that
like,
too. Is like how to recognize
mhm,
it. Are you angry or irritated? And that
yeah,
could be just even remembering that that's a sign of an unmet need could be a really great growth curve to have for the year. Yeah,
it's a
instead of
good
just being, I'm
reframe.
angry and this is annoying me. What's the unmet need? Because then you can voice it. You can get more clear about it in your head, and then maybe even decide whether or not you want to ask that scenario, those people, that person, to meet your need. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
good
Or
stuff.
can you meet it yourself?
Can you meet it yourself? Yeah, exactly. Yep. Can you make a decision on how you do things to meet it yourself? And
Right.
something like letting go can be something you do on your own if that's where
Letting
you're
it
going.
go, change the way you think about it. I mean, I don't
Exactly.
always love like telling people to change the way you think about it, but
Yeah.
sometimes that's the only option you have in a
Hmm, hmm.
situation.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Exactly.
you know,
Yep.
there's that
Yep.
piece. All right. All right,
Mm.
everyone. Well, not that we're asking you to write your unmet needs in the comments. But the idea of maybe just having some intentionality of
Yeah. Yeah.
what's bothering you, what is
Hmm,
bothersome to you, and what is the unmet need that might
hmm.
uncover if you were to dig deeper into
I like
why
that.
that bothers you.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. All right,
All right.
everyone. Well, we will catch you in the next episode. Be good to you, be good to others. Bye.
Bye.